If you want to build intelligent mobile apps that can understand human movements, detect yoga poses, and count exercises in real time, then welcome to this course. In this course, you will learn to use pose detection models in Flutter applications from scratch. Pose detection is a cutting-edge technology that can track human body movements by identifying key points or joints like shoulders, elbows, knees, ankles, and so on. And it has practical applications in sports, medical, fitness, and gaming. And inside this course, you will learn to use pose detection models inside Flutter with both images and the live camera footage. And during that process, we are going to build exciting applications, including an AI yoga trainer and an exercise counter. So now let's look at the course curriculum. So we will start with the basic introduction of pose detection and its practical applications. After that, you will learn to use pose detection models in Flutter applications with images. So in that application, user will be able to choose images from gallery or capture images using camera. And after that, we are going to pass these images to pose detection models and get body joint positions as a result. After that, we are going to process those results and detect exercises and yoga poses. And after images, you will learn to build real-time pose detection applications. So in that section, we are going to build an AI-based exercise app that can detect and count different exercises in real time. So after completing this course, you will learn the complete integration of pose detection models inside Flutter applications, and you will be able to build ML-based fitness and tracking applications in Flutter from scratch. But one important question is, who can take this course? So whether you are a beginner in Flutter or even an experienced Flutter professional, this course offers step-by-step guidance, practical projects, and hands-on experience with real-world applications. So what are you waiting for? Join us today and start building the next generation of intelligent fitness and wellness applications. So now let's look at the basic introduction of pose detection. So what is pose detection? It is actually a computer vision technology that detects human body postures by identifying key points or joints such as head, shoulder, elbows, knees, ankles, and so on. And then these key points are connected to form a digital skeleton representing the person pose and movement. So in simple word, it is a machine learning model which can detect human body joints, and then we can use those joints for a variety of different applications. So now let's understand pose detection with the help of an example. So suppose we got this image and we want to know the yoga pose person is doing in that image. So to detect that pose, we can pass this image to a pose detection model. So now this model will gonna detect body joint position, and then we can draw the lines or points on the original image. Similarly, based upon these body joint positions, we can calculate the angles between different body parts. Like in case of this particular pose, we can detect that the arms are completely stretched. Similarly, we can calculate the angles for legs as well. So based upon these things, we can detect the yoga pose person is doing in that image. Like in this particular case, user is doing the warrior pose of yoga. And now a question arises what these pose detection models can detect. So when we are going to pass an image of a person to a pose detection model, it can detect up to 33 different landmarks as a result. And all of these 33 points are mentioned here. So you can see it can detect facial landmarks, hands, elbows, shoulders, hips, knees, ankles, and so on. So now let's look at some real-world applications of pose detection. So the first and most important one is in fitness and workout applications. So pose detection models can be used for exercise tracking, form correction, and building virtual trainers. So it means that we can count repetitions for different exercises like push-ups, squats, jumping jacks, and so on. Similarly, it can provide feedback on the posture to improve workout efficiency and avoid injuries. And it can also be used in real-time coaching. Pose detection can also be used in sports analytics, so it can be used to analyze athlete movements to optimize their performance. Similarly, it can detect incorrect movements to reduce their injury risks. Pose detection is also being used in gaming and entertainment industry. So in gaming, it is being used to control game characters based upon our body movements. Similarly, in entertainment industry, it is being used to enhance user engagement through gesture-based interactions. Pose detection is also being used in physical therapy and rehabilitations. Like it is being used to monitor patient exercises to ensure that they are performing exercises with correct form. Similarly, it can be used for tracking improvements over time for rehabilitation exercises. So in simple word, pose detection has number of applications in real world. And inside this course, you will learn to use these models inside mobile applications for building smart next generation applications. So now let's start by setting up the environment for Flutter app development. And for this purpose, we need to download Flutter SDK, which is Flutter Software Development Kit, and we need to put it inside our system. And to do that, you need to open your browser, and here you can search for Flutter SDK. And there you can see the results, and the first link is this flutter.dev, so click on it and the home page for Flutter will be opened. And there you can read about different features which Flutter provides. But you can see this get started button at the top right corner, so we are going to click here and it will gonna take us to this page where we can select our platform. So as we are using Windows, so select it, and after that it will gonna ask you that for which particular platform you want to build applications. So for now we are going to select Android here, and then you can see this section, and here firstly you can read the minimum hardware requirements, like the minimum CPU cores should be 4 and the RAM should be 8. Apart from that, the resolution will be this one, and you should have minimum 11 GB space inside your system. But these requirements are generally met for all the systems. So after looking at them, you can scroll down, and there you will find this section to download and install Flutter. And here you can see this Flutter Windows stable.zip. So you need to download this zip file, and it contains Flutter SDK. And then we are going to put it inside our system. So firstly click on it and it will gonna start downloading Flutter SDK for us. Like there you can see this download started, and it will gonna take few minutes to complete. So now the zip file is downloaded and we need to firstly unzip it. So here we are going to extract it using WinRAR, but you can use any extraction software. So now the extraction is completed and we got this folder, and inside this folder you can see we got this Flutter folder, and this Flutter folder contains Flutter Software Development Kit. So we are going to put it inside our Windows directory, although it is not necessary and you can put it anywhere, but we are going to select Windows directory. So simply cut it from here and go inside C drive, and here we are simply going to paste it. So now after putting this folder here, we have added Flutter SDK inside our system. But at this point, this Flutter SDK can only be accessed from this Flutter folder. So it means that we cannot access it outside of this Flutter folder. Like here in the search field, if I will type cmd, then it will gonna open command prompt for me. And then if I will type the command Flutter Doctor, and this command is used to analyze Flutter which is installed inside your system. So if I will type it and press enter, you can see it is not recognizing Flutter as a command. So it means that we cannot access Flutter from here, from this C drive. But if I will open this Flutter folder and then go inside bin, and here I will open cmd again, so type cmd. And now here if I will type the same command, which is this Flutter Doctor, and press enter, now you can see it returned this output that Flutter version 3.22.3 is installed inside our system, and apart from that it has returned some other information as well. But now to access Flutter from anywhere inside our computer, we need to set environment variable, and to do that you can simply right click on this PC and go to properties, and here select this advanced system settings, and then select this environment variables. And now here we need to add the path of our Flutter bin folder to access it from anywhere inside our computer. And you can directly type environment variable here and you will be able to see this window, and then you can open environment variables. So now we need to open our Flutter folder and then inside it go to bin. After that, copy the path of this Flutter bin and then open this environment variable window. And here in the system variables you need to find the key which is path, and if there is no variable with the name path, then you can add a new variable, and here you can specify the variable name to path, and then in the value you can simply paste the path of bin folder which we copied. But in our case we already got this path here, so I will gonna double click, and now here I will gonna add the path which we copied. So there you can see C, Flutter and bin. After that press OK and then press OK again. And now we are going to close this window. And after doing that we will go inside our C drive and then open CMD again. And here we are going to type this Flutter Doctor command. Now press enter and you can see the same detail here, so it means that Flutter is set up successfully inside our system, and now we can access Flutter from anywhere inside our Windows PC. So now after setting up Flutter, the next step is installing Android Studio. So at this point we have set up Flutter SDK inside our system. But now to develop Flutter applications we need to install some IDE like Android Studio or Visual Studio, where we are going to write the code for building our Flutter applications. So as we are going to use Android Studio, so we need to firstly install it. And here when we are running Flutter Doctor we are getting a lot of information. And this information is about the status of Flutter inside our system. Like you can notice that Flutter is successfully installed inside our system and we got this green tick. But here you can notice that for Android Studio we got this warning that it is not installed. So now the next step is installing Android Studio. And to do that you need to open your browser and then you can search for Android Studio. And here you can see the results. So open this first link, which is this developer.android.com studio. And now here you can simply download latest version of Android by clicking on this download Android Studio button. And here you need to firstly accept their terms and then click on this download button and our Android Studio will gonna start downloading. And there you can see the download started and it will gonna take few minutes to complete. So now the download is completed and we got this Android Studio.exe file. So now to install Android Studio, double click on it and it will gonna open the setup for Android Studio installation. And there you can see the setup for Android Studio. So click next and then select the location where you want to install Android Studio. So I will gonna keep the default location, then press next and then click on this install button and the installation will gonna start. So here the setup is completed, so press next and then finally click finish and it will gonna launch Android Studio for us. So there you can see it is firstly asking that whether we want to import some settings or not. So we will gonna select do not import setting, then press OK. And after that you will see this window, so press next and then you need to select the install type. So you got this standard and custom option, so we will go with standard. And after that it will gonna download these tools which will be required inside Android Studio. So press next and then you need to click accept here and after that accept these licenses as well. Now press finish and it will gonna start downloading those tools for us. And once those tools are downloaded, they will be included inside Android Studio and later they will be used while building our mobile applications. So now let's wait for these files to be downloaded. So now all the components are downloaded, so click finish. And then you will see this window and here you can create a new project inside Android Studio or open existing one. But to create a new Flutter project there is a separate button with the title New Flutter Project and it is not there. And the reason is right now we have just installed Android Studio and we did not set up Flutter inside Android Studio. And to do that, you need to go to plugins, and there you need to install two plugins inside Android Studio. So the first plugin which you need to install is called Dart, and Dart is the official language for Flutter. So you need to install Dart plugin inside Android Studio. So there you can see this plugin, so click install, and this plugin will be installed in just a second. And there you can see this plugin is installed. And the second plugin which we need is called Flutter. So you can search for Flutter here, but in our case we can already see it here. So click on install, and this plugin will also be installed. And there you can see this plugin is installed, and now it requires us to restart Android Studio. So click on this restart IDE button, and then press this restart. And there you can see Android Studio is restarted, and we got this new Flutter project button here. So it means that Android Studio is successfully installed and Flutter is successfully configured inside Android Studio. And now if you will gonna open command prompt and write the same Flutter Doctor command here, you will be able to see the warning for Android Studio is gone. So there you can see now the warning for Android Studio is gone, and the only issue we have is regarding Android toolchains, and we are also going to correct them. So to resolve this first issue, you need to install command line tools for Android Studio. So open Android Studio, and here you can go to more actions and then click on this SDK manager. And now here you can go to SDK tools and select this Android SDK command line tools. And after that click apply, and this tool will be downloaded and added inside Android Studio. So press OK, and this download is started. So let's wait for this download to be completed, and after that this warning will be gone from Flutter Doctor. So now these tools are downloaded, so click finish, and after that click apply. Now press OK, and this window will be closed. And after doing that, let's run Flutter Doctor again. And there you can see now upon running this command we did not get any error. There is only one warning, and that is about Android licenses. So this command line tools error is now gone. So now to resolve this final warning, you need to run this command inside your command prompt. So you can simply copy this command, and after that you can paste it here inside CMD. Now press enter. And there you can see it wants us to review licenses that has not been accepted. And here we are going to pass Y because we want to accept them. And after that pass Y here as well. And then again type Y. And there you can see after accepting multiple times we got this all SDK package licenses accepted. So now after that if we will run Flutter Doctor again, now you can see everything is set up correctly, so we did not get any error or any warning. So it means that we are ready to develop our Flutter applications. Welcome to this lecture. In this lecture, you will learn to create an Android virtual device inside Android Studio. So an Android emulator or an Android virtual device is the replica of a real Android device which will be running on your Windows PC. So basically we are going to open an Android phone here on screen, and later we are going to install our applications on that device for testing it. So how we can create these Android emulators inside Android Studio? So to create this emulator you need to click on this more actions and then go to this virtual device manager. And if you are using some older version of Android Studio, then you will find this option for Android virtual device. So once you will click there, you will see this option for creating a virtual device. So click on it, and then here you need to select the device which you want to create. Like you can create different phones, tablets, Wear OS, desktop, TV, automotive, and so on. So as phone is selected, so we can see the list of available devices. So you can select any device that you like. Like I will gonna select this Pixel 7 Pro and then press next. And here you need to select the Android version which you want to install on that particular device. So for now, as the stable version is Android 14, so we are going to download this Android 14. And to do that, you can simply click on this download button and this download will gonna start. And once this download is completed, after that our Android emulator will be ready. So now let's wait for this download to be completed. So now the Android version is downloaded, so click finish, and after that you can select the downloaded version here, which is Android 14, and then press next. And here you can select the orientation of your device and then click finish, and our new Android emulator will be created, and there you can see this emulator. And now to launch it, you can simply click on this run button. So now the emulator which we just created is launched, and you can see this Android device here, and it has a lot of functionality which is similar to your real Android device. And while building our mobile applications, we can install Android applications on this device and then we can test them, and we are going to do this thing later inside our course. Hello guys, Hamza here. I just want to let you know that this video is just the first part of my complete Flutter and Pose Detection Build AI-based fitness and yoga training applications course. The complete course is around 4 hours long and it includes all source code that we write in this course. Every section has before and after source code, so you can easily code along with me. Apart from that, you will get a certificate upon completion which you can add to your resume. And the course comes with a 30 days money back guarantee. So if you are not satisfied, just simply ask for a refund. So if you are interested, I will put a link down below, and we are offering a discount to first 50 students. And now let's continue to the next lecture. Welcome to this lecture. In this lecture, we are going to set up the environment for Flutter app development, and we are going to do that on Mac operating system. And if you have a Windows, then you can follow the other lecture where we are going to do the environment setup on Windows operating system. And if you already got Flutter and Android Studio set up on your Mac, then you can skip this section and proceed to the next one. But now we are going to start setting up the environment. And the first step is installing or adding Flutter SDK inside our MacBook. So to do that, you can open your favorite browser and there type Flutter. After that, press enter and you will see this first result, which is this www.flutter.dev. So click on this link and the documentation page for Flutter will be opened. And here you can read about the features of Flutter. But we are going to click on this get started button and we will be moved to this screen where we need to select our operating system. So as we got a Mac, so we will select this Mac OS and it will gonna show us this option. And here for now we are going to select iOS, so just select it and it will gonna show us the instructions to do the setup of Flutter on Mac OS. So here you can firstly scroll down and go to the section install the Flutter SDK, and there in the download and install section you will find these two options. So if you got a Mac which has an Intel chip, then you can select this one, and if you got the latest Mac with M1, M2 or M3 chip, then you can download this zip file. So as I got a Mac with an Intel chip, so I will gonna download this one, so click on it and the download will gonna start. So now let's wait for this download to be completed, and then we are going to add this SDK inside our MacBook. So now the zip file is downloaded and I got it here. And now we need to put this zip file or this SDK somewhere inside our Mac, and then we need to tell Mac that this is the Flutter SDK and using it we are going to develop Flutter applications. So how we are going to do that? So to do that, open the documentation page again, and here below these download buttons we got some instructions. So there you can see the second instruction is creating a folder where you can install Flutter, and they recommend that inside our home directory we will create a folder with the name development. So what we are going to do is to open our Finder, and then we are going to navigate to our home folder, and there we are going to create a new folder. So select new folder here and then name it development. After that, inside this folder we need to extract that zip file. So there you can see I got it here on desktop. So what I can do is to drag it inside this folder, and then I am going to double tap it to uncompress it, and there you can see we got this Flutter folder. And after getting this Flutter folder you can delete this zip file. So let's delete it, and that's it. So now we got this Flutter folder inside our development folder. So now after doing that, open the documentation page, and there the next step is adding Flutter to your path. So at this point we have completed these three steps. So firstly we downloaded the SDK, and then we created the development folder, and inside it we have put or extracted that zip file. And after that we need to add Flutter to our path. So to run Flutter commands in the terminal, add Flutter to the path environment variables. And to do that we need to open this file named as zshenv, or there are chances that inside your Mac this file is present with the name zhsrc. So you need to open this file, and then inside this file you need to put this path at the end of this file, and then you need to save that file. And after that the path of Flutter SDK will be added inside our environment variables. So to do that you need to firstly check that whether this zshenv file is present or not. And to do that you can open the terminal, and inside terminal we are right now inside our home folder. So here you need to execute this command ls space al. So press enter, and you will be able to see all the files present inside our home. And there you can see I got this zshrc file. So in your case you will gonna get this file, or you may have this zshenv file. So as I got this file, so I am going to open it, and to open it we are going to write the command open, and then we need to type the file name, which is zshrc, and in your case it will be zshenv if you got this env file. So press enter. So you can see this .zshrc file is opened, and now inside this file we need to put this path. So you can simply copy this path, and when you will look at it, it is pointing to our development folder, and then inside development we got Flutter, and inside this Flutter we got this bin folder. And if in your case you have put this Flutter folder somewhere else, then you need to specify that path here. But in our case we got it in the home folder, so this is the path which we are going to use. So just simply copy it and then open the file, and after that at the end of this file simply paste it. Now press Command S, and this file will be saved, and after saving the file just simply close it, and then you can also close this terminal. And now you need to open the terminal again, and here to confirm that Flutter is installed successfully or not, you need to execute a command flutter version. So enter this command and press enter. And you can see this information here. So I got Flutter version 3.16.9, and this is the version which I just installed. So if after running this command you got this information, then it means that you have successfully added Flutter SDK inside your Mac, and Flutter is also added inside your environment variables. So now we can access Flutter from command lines. So now after installing the Flutter SDK, the next step is setting up the Android Studio, because using Android Studio we are going to build our Flutter applications. So in order to install Android Studio, inside your browser type Android Studio and press enter. And there you can see the results. So open this first link, developer.android.com studio. and there you can see this page, and here you will gonna get this download Android Studio button, and this is the latest version of Android Studio available in March 2024. So just click on it and it will gonna show you this agreement screen. So click on this check mark, and then if you got a Mac with Intel chip, then click on this download button, and if you got an Apple chip, then download this one. So as I got this Intel chip, so I will gonna click on it, and there you can see the download started. So now let's wait for this download to be completed. So now the download of Android Studio is completed and we got this DMG file here. So just simply double tap on it and it will gonna show you this window. So here move this Android Studio inside application folder, and after that open this launchpad, and here you will be able to find Android Studio. So just simply click on it. And then you will get this pop-up, so simply click on this don't send button. And then you will get this welcome Android Studio screen. So here simply click on this next button, and then you can select the standard or custom type. So if you will select custom, then you can customize installation settings and components installed, but we will go with this standard, so then click next. And here you will find some SDK components and tools which need to be downloaded. So click next. And then you need to agree for these license. So click on this accept button and then click on this Android SDK ARM and click on accept as well. Then click finish and these components will gonna start downloading, and once they finish our Android Studio will be ready. So there you can see these components are being downloaded and it will gonna take some time. So now all the components are downloaded, so click on this finish button and Android Studio will be opened. But at this point inside Android Studio, we cannot create a Flutter project. And to create a Flutter project, we need to install Flutter plugin. So in the side pane, click on plugins and then search for Flutter. So Flutter. And there you can see the result. So the first result is this Flutter plugin. So just click on this install and it will gonna ask you to accept these conditions. So just accept it. And there you can see the Flutter plugin is installed and it is asking to restart IDE. So click on this button and our Android Studio will be restarted. And there you can see Android Studio is restarted, and now we got this new Flutter project button, and earlier this button was not there. So it means that now inside Android Studio we can create a Flutter project. So now at this point inside Android Studio we can create a new Flutter project, and then we can run that Flutter project on Android device. But we cannot run that Flutter project on iOS, because for iOS we need to install another software called Xcode, and then by combining this Android Studio and Xcode we will be able to run Flutter applications on iOS and Mac devices. So the next step is installing Xcode inside our MacBook. You need to open App Store inside your Mac. So inside Launchpad search for App Store and you will find it here. And now inside App Store simply search for Xcode. After that press enter and you will see this first result. So this is the software which we are going to download. So you can click on it and its home page will be opened. So now you can simply click on this get button and then click on the install button, and this software will gonna start downloading, and once you will gonna download it, it will gonna show you an open button here. So once Xcode will be installed, you will be able to see this open button, and upon clicking on it, Xcode will be opened. Or you can also check Launchpad and there you will also find Xcode icon. So just click on it and it will be launched in just a second. So when for the first time it will be opened, it will gonna ask you to agree with these terms and conditions. And there you need to provide the password of your Mac to agree with them. And then you will see this window, and here you can select the devices for which you want to develop the applications. So by default Mac OS and iOS will be selected, so you can just select both of these and then click on the install button and it will gonna install some additional components. And once that process is finished, you will see this what's new in Xcode window. So here you can simply click on continue button and you will be able to see this window for Xcode. So once Xcode is installed and it is launched, you will be able to see a window similar to this one. And here you can create a new project in Xcode, or you can open an existing project. So after installing Xcode, you need to click on this Xcode button in the top left corner, and then you can click on this preferences. And here you need to go to this location tab, and then you need to select a value inside this command line tools. So by default there will not be any value selected here. So you can click on this drop down and you will be able to see the name and version of your Xcode. So just simply select it, and we are all set to build iOS applications inside Flutter. So just close this window and then open Android Studio. And now inside Android Studio we can create a new Flutter project, and then we can also run this project inside Android and iOS. So let's start by creating a new Flutter project. So click on this new Flutter project button, and here in the side pane you need to select Flutter because we want to create a new Flutter project. Then click next, and here you need to assign a name to your project. Like I will gonna name it as first app, and then you can select your project location here. So by default the studio project folder will be selected and it is created by Android Studio. And then we got the language selection here. So we will gonna use Kotlin for Android and Swift for iOS. And after doing that you can select the platforms. Like if you want to build this application only for Android and iOS, then you can uncheck this Linux, Mac OS, Web and Windows. And if you want to build it for all of these platforms, then keep them selected and click on this create button so that our new Flutter project will be created. And there you can see our new Flutter project is created, and as it's our first project, so it will gonna download few files. So let's wait for these files or packages to be downloaded. So now the files are downloaded and our Flutter project is ready. So when we create a new Flutter project, by default it provides us a counter application. So now firstly we are going to install this counter application inside an Android device or inside an Android emulator, and then we are also going to install it inside an iOS simulator. So firstly, we are going to install the starter application inside an iOS simulator, and then we are also going to install it inside an Android emulator. So to open an Android simulator here, you can click on this drop down and you will see this option open iOS simulator. So just click on it and it will gonna launch this simulator here. So there you can see a simulator or a clone for iPhone 14 Pro Max is opened. And it will gonna take few seconds and then it will be ready. And after that we are going to install the starter application inside this iOS simulator. And there you can see the iOS simulator is ready. And now to install our application on this iOS simulator, what we can do is to select it here in this drop down, and there you can see it is already selected. So after selecting it, click on this run main ... and our application will be installed inside this iOS simulator in few seconds. And there you can see our application is installed inside this iOS simulator. So this is the default counter application provided by Flutter. And here when you will click on this button, this count will gonna increase. So now we have successfully set up Flutter in macOS, and then we have also created a new Flutter project, and we are able to install this Flutter project inside an iOS simulator. And now the next step is installing this starter application inside an Android emulator. So to install this starter application inside an Android device, you can either connect your mobile with this MacBook, or you can create an Android emulator. So here let's minimize this emulator and then click on this device manager icon. And there you can see a default Android emulator created by me. But in your case you might not see anything here but a create Android emulator button. So upon clicking on this button, you will see a dialog similar to this one. And here you can select the device for which you want to create an emulator. Like we are going to select Pixel 7 and then click next. and there you will be able to see the list of Android versions. So here you can select the latest version or the versions you like. Like we are going to select this Android 14. So just select it and then click on this download button. So before creating an Android emulator containing Android 14, we need to download the zip file for Android 14. And there you can see this download started. So now we need to wait for this download to be completed, and then we are going to create an Android emulator and install our application inside it. So now the downloading process is finished, so just click on this finish button, and after that you can see this Android version which is currently downloaded inside your macOS. So just simply select it and then click next, and after that you can select the orientation of the device and then click finish, and our Android emulator will be created. So there you can see after creating it, we got this Pixel 7 which is containing Android 14. So to launch this Android emulator, click on this run button, and after that minimize this bottom box and also minimize this top box so that we can see the emulator here clearly, and it will be there in just a second. And there you can see the emulator is started, and you can see the basic interface of this particular Android device. So once it is ready, you can simply select it from this drop down. So there you can see this Pixel 7, so just select it. And after that, we are going to install the application inside this Android emulator. So now our application is installed inside this Android emulator. So let's increase its size so that we can see things clearly. And here, upon click on this button, this count is increasing. Hello guys, Hamza here. I just want to let you know that this video is just the first part of my complete Flutter and Pose Detection Build AI-based fitness and yoga training applications course. The complete course is around 4 hours long, and it includes all source code that we write in this course. Every section has before and after source code, so you can easily code along with me. Apart from that, you will get a certificate upon completion which you can add to your resume. And the course comes with a 30 days money back guarantee. So if you are not satisfied, just simply ask for a refund. So if you are interested, I will put a link down below, and we are offering a discount to first 50 students. And now let's continue to the next lecture. Welcome to this lecture. In this lecture, we are going to build our first Flutter application of this course, and this is an image picker application. So basically, we are going to build an application where user can choose an image from gallery, or he can capture an image using camera inside our Flutter application. And after that, we are going to display that selected or captured image inside our Flutter application. And we are building this application because later we need to pass that image to our machine learning models and get the results. So that's why we are learning to choose or capture images inside Flutter. So now let's start by creating a new Flutter project. So open your Android Studio and click on this new Flutter project button. After that, make sure that Flutter is selected here, then click next. And here you need to assign a name to your application. So I will name it as image picker. And after that, you can select the project location here, and then you can add a description if you want to. And after that, you can select the platforms for which you want to build this application. Like here, Android, iOS, Linux, Mac, Web and Windows is selected. So it means that this Flutter project will be created for all of these platforms. So after ensuring these things, click on this create button, and our new Flutter project will be created in just a second. So now our new Flutter project is created and it is ready. So let's firstly install this new application inside an iOS emulator or inside an Android emulator and look at the default counter application. And after that, we are going to start building our image picker application. So I have already created an iOS emulator and you can see it here. And in your case, if it is not running, then you can click on this open iOS simulator. Then a simulator similar to this one will be opened. And after that you can select it here and then click on this run button, and our application will be installed inside it in just a minute. So now our application is installed inside the simulator and you can see the starter application. So this is basically the default counter application provided by Flutter. And here when you will click on this floating button, this count will gonna increase. So this is the application present inside our starter code. And now we are going to make changes inside this code because we want to build our image picker application. And the first step of building our application is creating its GUI. So inside our image picker application, we are going to add a button on screen, and when the user will gonna click on this button, we are going to launch the gallery where user can select an image. And once user will gonna select the image, we are going to display that selected image here. Similarly, when the user will gonna long press on that button, we are going to launch the camera. And when the user will gonna capture the image in that camera, we are going to display the captured image here. So that will be the flow of our application. And now we are going to start by adding the GUI of our image picker application. So in the GUI, we will have a button and then a view where we are going to display the image. So where in this application code we need to add the button. So right now you can see we are inside our main dot and it contains all the code of this counter application. So here when you will scroll down, you will find a build method here. And inside this build method, the GUI of this application is present. So when you will scroll down, you will gonna find this text widget which is displaying this text. You have pushed the button this many times. So this is the text which is being displayed here. And then also we are displaying this count here. So here we are displaying the GUI of this counter application. But now we want to build the GUI of our image picker application. So we are going to remove the GUI of this counter application here. So basically inside our build method, we got a scaffold, and then in that scaffold we are displaying this app bar. And this app bar is displaying this title, Flutter Demo Homepage. And after that in the body of this scaffold, we are displaying a column widget. And that column widget is displaying both of these text widgets. But now we are going to remove both text widgets from here. And after that press Command S. And when you will do that, you can see this text is gone. And the reason is we have removed these widgets from here. Similarly, let's remove this button as well. So you can see this floating action button. So just select it till this point and then remove it. After that, press Command S. And now you can see this button is gone as well. And now after removing the previous GUI, we are going to add an elevated button here. And then in that button, we are going to pass the child property. So the child of this button will be a text widget because we want to display a text choose or capture on this button. So write the text choose or capture. And after that, the second thing which we need to pass is this onPress method. So this callback or this method will be executed when the user will gonna click on this button. So here we can pass an empty method. And this method will be executed once the user will gonna click on this button. So press Command S. And you can see this button choose or capture. And when the user will gonna click on it, this method will be executed. And inside it, we are going to write the code for opening the gallery so that user can select an image. And once user will gonna select the image, we need to display that image above this button. So to display that image, we are going to add an image widget inside our GUI. So write image here and then call its file method. So we are going to display the image using a file object. And the reason is once we are going to choose or capture the image, we are going to get that image in the form of file. And after that, we are going to display that image using this image.file method. But right now, we do not have our image in the form of file format. But later, we are going to get that image in the form of file. So to store that image in a file object, what we can do is to create a file object inside our my homepage state. So basically above this build method, you can declare a variable of type file and then you can name it image. And after that you need to import the library in which this file object is present. So click on this icon and import this library .io. And after that you will see an error here because we did not initialize this image object. So here we can make this image object nullable. So it means that this image variable can be null or it can contain an image file. So after creating this image variable here, we are going to pass it inside this file object. So image and select this image. And after that, between these two widgets, add a comma and this error will be gone. But right now you can see we are getting an error that this image can be null or the argument of file cannot be assigned to a parameter of file. So basically it is stating that we cannot specify this image variable here because it can be null. So here to avoid this thing we can check that if this image variable is null, so in that case we are not going to call this image.file function. So if this image is equal to null, so in that case we are not going to do this thing, but in that case we are going to display an image icon here. So I have added an icon widget here, and inside it you can specify the icon which you want to display, and you can select this icon using this icons class. So add this icons and then add a dot and you will be able to see a lot of icons here. So as we want to display an image related icon, so type image and you will find a lot of image icons. So let's select this icon for now, and after that add a colon here because this is the else block. And after doing this thing, we have made sure that whenever this image variable will be null, so in that case we are not going to display the image but we are going to display the icon. So here we can pass a not null insertion that this image variable will not be null whenever this function will be called, because we have made sure that whenever this variable is null we are going to display an icon and not going to display this image. So after doing that, press Command S, and there you can see this small image icon here. And now we can also increase the size of this icon. So here set the size property and we are going to select the size to 50 for now. After that press Command S and you can see the size of this icon is increased. Similarly, if you want to increase it further like 150, then you can do that and you can see its size is increasing. So now we have created a very simple GUI for our image picker application, and in that GUI we have added a button which is displaying this text choose or capture, and then we are displaying a view or a widget where we are going to display the image. So basically before displaying the image we are checking the value of this image variable. So if it is null, so in that case we are going to display this icon here, and if it is not null, which means that user have chosen or selected any image, so in that case we are going to display that image on screen. And now inside our next lecture we are going to start the process of choosing or capturing image inside our application. So see you in the next lecture. Welcome to this lecture. So now after creating the GUI of this application, it's time to add the feature of choosing or capturing images inside Flutter. So to do that, we are going to use a library called Image Picker. So open your favorite browser and then go to Google and here type pub.dev, and you can also directly type it here in the search bar. And now in the search result, open this first link pub.dev. And this website will be opened. So this is basically the official package repository for Dot and Flutter applications. And here you can search for any Dot or Flutter related library. And the library which we are looking for is called Image Picker. So type Image Picker here and press enter. And after that, to view the results clearly, let's minimize the simulator. And you will be able to see this image picker library as the first result, and it is the most popular and used library in Flutter. So click on this library and the documentation page will be opened. And now the first step is installing this library inside our Flutter project. So to do that, click on this installing section and there you will find this dependency. So just simply copy this line and open our application. And here inside pubspec.yaml file, you need to paste this line in the dependencies section. So you can see this section here, and whatever library you want to add in your project, you need to paste its dependency here. So I pasted it here, and now click on this pub-get, and this library will be downloaded and added inside our project in just a minute. And there you can see this library is downloaded and it is now added inside our Flutter project. And after adding the library, open the documentation page again and go to README section. And there we will find the instructions for using this library inside iOS and Android. And you can also see we can use this library inside macOS, web, Windows and Linux as well. So here scroll down, and the first section which you are going to find is for iOS. So basically, to use this library inside our iOS applications, we need to follow these steps. And if we want to use this library inside Android, then we need to follow these instructions as well. So these are some additional things which we need to do for Android and iOS. So we are firstly going to start by looking at the instructions for iOS. So as the main purpose of this library is to open the gallery so that user can select an image. And similarly, it also provides an option to launch the camera so that user can capture an image. So for using this library, we need to add few permissions inside our application. So basically we are going to show user a dialog that our application want to access the gallery or the camera. And if user will gonna allow those permissions, only then this library will gonna help us to choose or capture images inside Flutter. So to add those permissions, we need to add some key string pairs inside our iOS section. So basically when you will gonna open the Flutter project, you will find this iOS folder. And when you will expand it, you will find this runner folder, so expand it. And inside it, you will find this info.plist file. So now inside this file, we need to specify the reason that why our application want to access the gallery or camera. And we are going to specify that reason in the form of this key string pair. So between these key pairs, we need to specify the key that for which permission we are writing the reason in the string tag. So here when you will open the documentation page, the first tag is this ns photo library usage description. And here we need to specify the reason that why our application want to access this photo library. So just simply copy this key and open our application. And here inside this dictionary tag, add a new key tag. And after that, paste the line that we copied and then create a closing key tag as well. So here we have specified this key, and now to write the reason, you are going to add a string tag here. And after that, create a closing string tag as well. And now between these string tags, you need to write the reason that why your application want to access the gallery. And this reason will be according to your application. Like if you are building an image editing application, then you can write the reason as my application provides the functionality to edit images. So that's why we need to access the gallery. So here you can type that reason. And after that, we need to do the same thing for the camera as well. So what you can do is to copy this key string tag and then you can paste it here. And after that, improve the spacing. And then open the documentation page and copy this ns camera usage description. And after that, open our application again, and here in the key tag simply replace the key with this key. So now here you will going to write the reason that why your application want to access the camera. And similarly, if inside your application you want to record a video, then you need to specify the reason that why your application want to access the microphone as well. So that's how inside iOS section you are going to specify the permissions. So after following these steps, the setup for iOS is completed. And now the next instructions are for Android. So for Android, no configuration required. So as this library is updated, so now we don't need to do anything inside Android section. And by just simply installing this library inside our Flutter project, we can use it inside Android applications as well. So after doing that, the setup for both Android and iOS is completed. And now the next step is using this library for choosing or capturing images inside Flutter. So now after setting up the library, let's start using it for choosing or capturing images. So on this documentation page, scroll down and you will find this example section. And there you will gonna find the instructions for using this library inside Flutter. So you can see the first step is creating an image picker object. And after that, to pick an image, they are calling this picker.pickImage method. And inside it, they are specifying the source to gallery. So basically, if you want to select the image from gallery, then specify the source to gallery here. And if you want to capture an image using camera, then specify the source to camera here. So now let's start using this library so that things will be clear. So first step is creating this image picker object. So open our application and go to main . And here we can remove these comments to make our code cleaner. Similarly, let's remove all of these comments as well. And after doing that, to format our code, right click or press Ctrl click and select this reformat code with dot format, and it will gonna format our code and it is looking much better. So now let's enhance this section, and then above our build method we are going to declare an image picker object. So let's call this object as image picker, and after that add a late keyword before this declaration because we want to declare it later. So after declaring the object here, we are going to initialize it inside our init state method. So here type init and you will see this option for init state. So just select it and this method will be added. So this init state method is the first method which will be called once our application will be visible on screen. And inside it we are going to initialize this image picker. So write image picker and then call its constructor. So image picker. And that's it. So now we are declaring our image picker object here and initializing it inside our init state. And after doing that, we need to use this image picker for choosing or capturing image. So to do that, we are going to create a method and name it choosEmage. And we are going to call this method when we want to choose an image from gallery. And as we want to choose the image when the user will gonna click on this button, so we are going to call this method inside this onPress. So call this choosEmage method here. And that's it. So now when the user will gonna click on this button, this choosEmage method will be executed, and inside it we are going to write the code for launching the gallery and choosing the image. So to do that, we are going to use this image picker and we are going to call its pickImage method, and inside it we need to specify the image source. So type image source and then add a dot, and you will see these two sources here. So as we want to choose image from gallery, so we will select gallery here, and that's it. So this line will gonna open the gallery once user will gonna click on this button, and then user can select the image, and once user will gonna select it, this pickImage will gonna return an X-file object. So here we can create an X-file object, and then we can name it selected image. And after that we can assign the result here. And as this X file is nullable, so add a question mark here. And after that we need to add an await keyword here. And we have added this await keyword here because this pickImage method will gonna open the gallery, and until user will gonna select the image, we are not going to get this X file. So basically we need to wait here. So that's why we added this keyword, and once we will do that, we need to make the method asynchronous inside which we are calling this await keyword. So make this method asynchronous, and that's it. So it means that this method will be executed asynchronously, and meanwhile other things can be performed in the backend. So now this choosEmage method will be called, and inside it we are calling this pickImage, and it will gonna show a gallery here. And once user will gonna select the image, we are going to get that image in the form of X file object. and after getting the image we need to display that image to the user on screen. And to do that we need to store this X file inside our file variable, because when this image variable will not be null, then this image will be displayed on screen using this image.file. So here, to convert this X file into a file object, you can firstly check that if the selected image is null or not, because there are chances that it will be null because it is nullable. So if it is not null, so in that case we are going to assign the result to our image variable, and here we are going to create a new file object, and inside it we are going to pass the path of the file, and we are going to get the path using our selected image. So selected image dot path, and after that add a semicolon, and that's it. So basically if the user have selected the image, then this code will be executed, and we are going to store that selected image in the form of file object inside our image variable. And now as this image variable will not be null and it is containing an image, so our image will be displayed here instead of this icon. But to tell our GUI that this image variable is changed, we need to call setState method, and inside it pass the variable about which you want to inform the GUI, and that's it. So now as this image variable will not be null, and because of this setState our GUI will be updated, so we will be able to see the selected image here. So after making all of these changes, simply click on the stop main dot and then install the application again inside the simulator, and now you will be able to choose images inside our Flutter application. Similarly, you can install it inside an Android emulator and you can perform the same thing there. And here you can notice that we clicked on this stop main dot and then install the application again, and the reason is we have added the image picker library, and now to make those changes in the installed application we need to install it completely. So now our application is installed, so let's click on this button. And there you can see when I clicked on it, I got this pop-up that our application would like to access your photos. And the reason mentioned here is the word which we put inside our info.playlist. So there you can see we did not write any proper reason. We just wrote the word reason. So whatever text you will gonna write here, it will be visible. So here let's give this permission. And once I did that, I will be able to see the gallery of my iPhone. And same will be the case for Android. And here we can select any image, like I am going to select this image, and as soon as I selected the image, our image is being displayed in the GUI. And the reason for this thing is, once user have selected the image, we got that image in the form of X file object, and then we converted it into a file object and told our GUI that this image variable is updated. And now in the GUI we are checking the value of this image variable. So if it is not null, then we are going to display the image using this image widget. Similarly, you can try the same thing for some other image. So I will gonna select this image, and you can see our image is being displayed here. So now the first feature of our image picker application is working correctly. And now after choosing the image, the next step is capturing the images using camera inside our application. So to do that, what we need to do is to add another callback inside this elevated button. So basically we want that when the user will gonna long press on this button, we want to open the camera so that user can capture an image. So inside our elevated button, after this on press, we can add an on long press method. And then we can create the body of this method, and now inside these brackets we can call another method which is capture image. And we did not created this method yet, but now above we are going to create this method below this choose image. So simply copy this choose image method and paste it below, and here rename it to capture image. And after doing that, inside this method we need to make only one change, and that is, instead of this image source to gallery, we need to specify the image source to camera here, and that's it. So now when the user will gonna long press on this method, then this capture image method will be called, and inside it we are using this image picker.pick image method, but this time this pick image will gonna launch the camera, and once user will gonna capture the image, we are showing that image to the user on screen. But if you will try to run the application on iOS simulator, you will not going to get anything upon long pressing on this button, because there is no camera preview inside iOS simulator. So to test this feature, we need to install the application inside an Android emulator. So to test this feature, I am going to install this application on an Android emulator. So I will gonna select this Pixel 8 emulator here, and in your case you can select the one which you created. And after that, let's simply click on this run main dot dot, and our application will be installed inside that emulator in just a minute. So now the application is installed inside this Android emulator, and because of the settings of my system, you can see this warning. So I can click on wait and this will be gone, but in your case it will not gonna occur. So to open the camera, what we can do is to long press on this choose or capture button. And there you can see the camera is opened inside this Android emulator, and this is the default camera preview for this emulator. So let's capture an image. And once I captured the image, you can see this captured image is being displayed inside our application. And same is the case for real device, that when you are going to install this application inside your real iOS or Android device, you will be able to choose or capture images inside your application. And we are doing that with the help of this image picker package. Welcome to this lecture. So now we have completed our image picker application in Flutter, and in this application we are choosing images from gallery or capturing them using camera inside Flutter. And in this lecture we will quickly review the process that how we have built this application. So firstly, we have created a new Flutter project, and then in that project we have added this image picker library, and using this library we are able to choose or capture images inside Flutter. And after adding the library, we have specified the permissions for iOS inside our info.plist file. And after doing that, inside our main dot dot, we have declared an image picker object, and then we initialized it inside our init set. After that, in the GUI, we have added this elevated button, and when the user is clicking on it, we are calling this choose image method, and when the user is long pressing on it, we are calling this capture image method. And inside these methods, we are using this image picker library to choose or capture images. So here, once user will gonna capture the image or he will gonna choose it, we are going to get that image in the form of X file object, and after that we are converting it into a file object, and then we are storing it inside this image variable, and we are using this image variable in the GUI to display the image. So there you can see we are checking the value of this image variable, that if it is not null, then we are going to display the image stored inside this variable. So that is the reason that once user will gonna choose or capture the image, the selected image is being displayed here. Hello guys, Hamza here. I just want to let you know that this video is just the first part of my complete Flutter and Pose Detection Build AI-based fitness and yoga training applications course. The complete course is around 4 hours long, and it includes all source code that we write in this course. Every section has before and after source code, so you can easily code along with me. Apart from that, you will get a certificate upon completion, which you can add to your resume. And the course comes with a 30 days money back guarantee. So if you are not satisfied, just simply ask for a refund. So if you are interested, I will put a link down below, and we are offering a discount to first 50 students. And now let's continue to the next lecture. So now let's start building our first ML based application, where we are going to use pose estimation models. And to do that, you need to firstly get our starter application code. And for that purpose, you can open your browser and type this URL. And you can also take this URL from this lecture resources. So once this Git repository is opened, simply click on this code button and copy this link. After that, open your Android Studio and here click on these three dots and then select this get from version control, and here you can paste the link. And after that, you need to select the location where you want to create this Flutter application project. Then click clone and our project will be cloned in just a minute. So now our application code is imported successfully. So let's firstly install this application inside an Android emulator or inside an iOS emulator so that we can see this Flutter application. So now our application is installed and this is the GUI of our Flutter application. So here we firstly got this image and then below that we got the buttons for choosing or capturing images. So here if I will click on this button, you can notice that the emulator camera is open, so I can capture an image. And you can notice our captured image is being displayed here. Similarly, I can click here, then the gallery will be opened. So here we can select an image and then that image is visible here. So this is our Flutter application, and inside it we got the functionality to choose or capture images inside Android using image picker. And this is almost the same application which we completed inside our previous section where we have learned to choose or capture images inside Flutter. The only difference is right now we got this better GUI. So after looking at this application, let's look at its code. So for that purpose, expand this lib folder and go to main . So here inside main we got the code for this Flutter application. So firstly we are going to look at our build method because here we got our GUI related code. So you can notice that we got a scaffold here and then inside it we got a column. And this column widget is firstly displaying this container, and inside this container we are displaying the chosen or captured image or this default bg.jpg. So basically we have created this images folder and inside it we have added this background image. So this is the image which is visible at first. So here we are checking that if this image variable is not null, then we are going to display selected or captured image. Otherwise we are going to display that default image. And then in the bottom section you can notice that we got a row widget and it is containing this inkwell widget. So this inkwell widget is displaying this photo icon using which user can choose an image from gallery. After that we got this circular container and this is just displaying this logo.png, and we also put this logo.png inside our application. And then we got this second inkwell widget using which user can capture an image using camera. So this is the GUI code for our Flutter application. And then at the top we got our image picker code. So for that purpose, firstly we have added the dependency inside our pubspec.yaml, so you can see this image picker. And then inside our main . We are declaring this image picker object here and initializing it here. And then we created this image from camera and image from gallery method. So this method will be called once we want to capture an image, and it will be called once we want to select an image. And as soon as user will gonna choose or capture the image will be visible inside our GUI here. And now we need to pass that selected or captured image to our pose estimation model and get the location of body joints or body points. And we are going to start that process inside our next lecture. But for now we have imported our Flutter application and we have looked at the working and the code of this Flutter application. So after getting our Flutter application and looking at its code, it's time to start working on our pose detection feature. And for that purpose, firstly we are going to add a library using which we are going to detect body joints or pose of a person. And that library is Google ML-Kit Pose Detection. So open your browser and go to pub.dev. And there you can see it is opened. So this is official package repository for Dart and Flutter. So you can find any Dart package here. So we are looking for pose detection package. So I will gonna type pose detection. and press enter. And there you can see the first result is this Google ML Pose Detection. So this is the library which we are going to use. So click on it and the documentation is opened. So here on this page we need to firstly install this library inside our project. And for that purpose go to installing section and then copy this dependency. After that, open our application and go to pubspec.yaml, and here below this image picker simply paste the dependency. Now click pubget so that the library will be downloaded and added inside our project. So there you can see the library is added successfully. So after adding the library, we need to look at the instructions for Android and iOS. So go to readme section and there simply scroll down and you will find this requirement section. So firstly we got some requirements for iOS and secondly we got requirements for Android. So for now we are going to look at the requirements for Android and then inside our next lecture we are going to cover the requirements for iOS. So here for Android our minimum SDK version should be 21 and our target and compile SDK versions should be 33 and 34. So to make sure these requirements are met, you need to open your project and here expand this Android folder. After that expand this app folder and you will find this build.gradle file. So inside this file you will find this min SDK property. So here you need to make sure that its value is greater than or equal to 21. So we can manually specify 21 here and this thing is done. And then we need to look at our target and compile SDK. So here you can see our target SDK should be 33 or greater and compile SDK should be 34 and greater. So to add them, open the project again and here we are going to set this target SDK to 33. Similarly you will find compile SDK here, so we can set it to 34. And now after doing that we can completely install our application again to check that whether the library is set up successfully for Android or not. So I will gonna click on the stop main dot and then we are going to install application again. So now our application is installed again, so it means that the library is set up successfully for Android. And now the next thing is doing the setup for iOS. So now after adding the library and doing the setup for both Android and iOS, it's time to use this library inside our Flutter project. But before that we are going to look at the key features provided by this library. And to do that you will find this link here. So right click on this Google ML Pose Detection and open it inside a new tab. So now this page is opened and here you will find the features and the detail of this API. So you can read the ML Pose Detection API is a lightweight, versatile solution for app developers to detect pose of a subject body in real time or in static images. So it means that by using this library we can detect the pose of a person from image and also from real camera footage or videos. And here if you will scroll further down you will see the list of body points which these models can detect. So you can see there are total 33 body points which we can detect and all of them are listed here. And these points include the points of person face, hand, feet and other body parts. And if you will further scroll down, you will find this key capabilities section. So here you can see some key features provided by this library. So the first one is cross-platform support. So it means that by using this library, we can detect the pose on both Android and iOS. And then the second point is full body tracking. So as the model provided by this library returns 33 key skeletal landmarks, so it can be used for full body tracking. After that, the third point is this in-frame likelihood score. So for each landmark, a measure that indicates the probability that the landmark is within the image frame. So basically, when it is returning these 33 points, it is also returning a value for each of the points, which is indicating that whether that particular body part or joint is within the image frame or not. So the value of this parameter is from 0 to 1, and here 1 indicates the high confidence that particular point or body joint is present in the image. After that, the next feature is two optimized SDK. So the library provides two models or two SDKs. So the first model is their fast model, which returns result quickly, but its accuracy is a little low. So that fast model can return the result at the rate of 30 to 45 frames per second. On the other hand, their accurate model is a little slower, but its results are more accurate. So it's up to you that which model or which SDK you want to use. And then the fifth point is this Z coordinate for depth analysis. So it is also returning a Z coordinate for each of these body joints, and it is indicating that particular part of user body is in front or behind the user hips. So these are some key features provided by this library. And now we are going to use this library inside our application, and we are going to detect the pose or body joints locations and draw them on the image just like that. And later we are going to use this information for exercise detection and also for yoga pose correction. So now let's use this library for detecting the pose of a person or body joints in the image. And to do that, you need to scroll down and you will find some example code section. So there you can see for usage, the first step is creating an instance of input image. So basically we want to pass the selected or captured image to our pose detection model. And for that purpose, we need to firstly convert that image into a format called input image, and then we can pass that image to our pose detection model. So to convert our selected or captured image into that input image format, you need to open our main dot, and here after this image from gallery or image from camera, we got this do pose detection method, and we are calling this method once user is capturing or selecting the image. So now inside this method, we are going to firstly convert that image into that input image format so that we can pass it to our pose detection model. And to do that, you can create an input image object here. So input image. And there you can see this input image is present inside this Google ML Kit pose detection. So simply select it. And then we can name it as input image. And now we need to initialize it, and for that purpose we can use this input image class, and it got a method from file. So there you can see it contains different methods, and one of them is from file. So basically this method is used to convert an image file into that input image. So here we need to specify our image file. So we got it with the name _image, so we can simply pass it. And then here we need to add not null insertion, and that's it. So basically when this method will be called, our selected or captured image will be converted into that input image format. And if you will open the documentation page, you will find this link here, and if I will gonna open it inside a new tab, here you will find instructions to convert images into that input image format. So there you can see you can convert an image into this format from a file path, from a file object, from bytes, and also you can convert the frame of live camera footage into that input image format. So in our case, we got our image in the form of file, so we used from file function. And now after creating this input image object, the next step is creating our pose detector. And to do that, we need to call this pose detector method. So what we can do is to simply copy this code, and then we can add it inside our application. So here you can see our init state method, and there we can simply paste the code. And now let's look at it. So here we are firstly creating this pose detector option object, and then we are creating our pose detector, and inside this detector we are passing this option. So basically this option is used to customize our model, and this pose detector is used to initialize our model so that we can pass input to the model and get the output. So here after pasting the code, we need to declare this pose detector outside so that we can access it inside this do pose detection. So for that purpose, below this file object, we can declare this pose detector. So let, and we can name it pose detector, and after that its name will be this pose detector. and then we can remove this final from here, and that's it. So it means that we are declaring our detector here and initializing it inside our init state. So after creating this pose detector, we need to pass our input image or selected or captured image to this pose detector and get the result. And to do that, you will find the instructions here. So in this block, we are basically passing our input image to this pose detector.processImage method, and it will gonna pass that image to pose detection model, and then it will gonna return the result. And after that, we got the code to look at those results. So what you can do is to simply copy this code and add it inside our do pose detection. So here we can paste it below this input image, and now let's look at it. So here, after converting our image into this input image format, we are calling pose detector.processImage, and here we are passing this input image object, and it will gonna pass that image to our pose detection model, and the model will gonna return a list of poses here. So this is actually a list which contain multiple pose objects. And here one thing is very important, and that is if we are passing an image which contain multiple persons on multiple bodies, then this pose detection model will gonna return the pose for only one person, and it is mentioned on their documentation page. So here you can read pose detection can only detect one person in an image. So if two people are in the image, the model will assign landmarks to the person detected with the highest confidence. So it means that inside this list of poses, we will get only one single pose object. So here, after getting this list, we are simply iterating it. So for each pose object which is present inside this list, this loop will be executed, and here we can get the landmarks using this pose.landmark. And this landmark is actually a map which contains the values in the form of key value pair. So it means that the key will be the name or the type of that landmark, and the value will be the location of that landmark. So here we are iterating this landmark map using this for each loop, and then inside this loop we can get the type of the landmark and also its location. And if you want to get a particular landmark, like you want to get the location of nose, you can get it using this pose.landmark, and then you can specify the type of that landmark. Like here we have specified the type to nose. So now it has returned a landmark object for the nose. Similarly, if I will remove this nose from here and add a dot, you can see the list of those 33 points which our model can return. So for now we will use nose here. So now after passing our image and getting this list of poses, we can print some information in the console which will gonna indicate that whether our model is working or not. And later we are going to draw the points and the lines on the image itself. So to do that, here inside this for each loop we can print the type and the location of landmark. So I will gonna use this print method, and then I will gonna add a text like landmarks, and after that we are going to print the landmark type. So landmark dot type dot name, so it will gonna return the name of that body part, and after that we can print the location. So we can use this landmark dot x dot toString and landmark dot y dot toString. And that's it. So now after doing that, let's simply run our application again and select an image, and after that we are going to check that whether in the run section we got this information printed or not. So now our application is refreshed, so let's select an image. So I will gonna select this image. So there you can see the image is visible here, and now in the run section we must have some information printed. So there you can see we got the list of those 33 points. So we got nose and then the location of nose. After that we got other points as well. And here at the time of running this application, you have noticed that the image is not visible until this information is printed. So the reason is we have this set state which is informing our GUI. So we can move it at the start of this do pose detection so that when we are going to select the image, it will be visible instantly. So let's press Ctrl S. and then we are going to select other image. So let's select this one, and there you can see now the image is visible, and here we got the information as well. So it means that our pose estimation model is working correctly and we are getting the location of body joints of person. And for now the flow of our application is, once user will gonna choose or capture the image, we are getting the image in the form of file and calling this do pose detection. And here we are converting that image into that input image format, and after that we are passing it to our pose detection model. So this model is returning the pose present in the image, and then we are iterating the list of poses and we are printing the information here. And now after getting the location here, the next step is drawing the points and the lines on the image, which will gonna indicate the location of different body landmarks on the image itself. And we are going to do that inside our next lecture. Hello guys, Hamza here. I just want to let you know that this video is just the first part of my complete Flutter and Pose Detection Build AI-based fitness and yoga training applications course. The complete course is around 4 hours long and it includes all source code that we write in this course. Every section has before and after source code, so you can easily code along with me. Apart from that, you will get a certificate upon completion which you can add to your resume. And the course comes with a 30 days money back guarantee. So if you are not satisfied, just simply ask for a refund. So if you are interested, I will put a link down below, and we are offering a discount to first 50 students. And now let's continue to the next lecture. So now after getting the results from pose detection models and showing them in the console, it's time to draw those points on the image itself. So basically we are going to draw lines joining different body parts on this image. And for that purpose we need such widget where we can firstly show the image and then we can draw the lines joining different body points. So for now we are displaying the image using this image widget. But now we need such widget where we can display both image and the lines, and such widget in Flutter is called custom paint. So here inside our GUI where we are displaying selected or captured image, we are going to use a custom paint widget. So firstly we are going to comment this existing widget, and then we are going to add this custom paint widget here. And now inside this custom paint widget we need to specify a parameter called painter, and this is of type custom painter. So to specify that painter here we are going to create a new class, and we are going to create it at the bottom of our main dot. So here create a class and we can name it like pose painter, and this class will gonna extend that custom painter. So custom painter, and that's it. So now after creating this pose painter we need to add two methods because of this custom painter. So let's create these two missing methods. So the first one is this paint method and the second one is this should repaint. So here the first method is the main method where we are going to draw the image on screen, and then we are going to draw body points and the lines on the image itself. So basically in this main method we get a canvas object, and on this canvas we can draw anything. So in our case we are firstly going to draw this image on this canvas, and then we are going to draw the lines or the points at the location of different body joints. And to do that, inside this pose painter we need to access the image and also the result of model, and we are going to take both of these things as parameters. So firstly we are going to declare this image parameter, and secondly we are going to declare a list of pose. So this is basically the result returned by the model, so we can name it poses. And then inside the constructor of this pose painter we are going to take them as a parameter. So pose painter, and inside it we are firstly going to get the image, and secondly we are going to get the list of poses, and that's it. So now inside this pose painter, user will gonna pass the image and the result of pose detection model. After that, in the paint method of this pose painter, we are firstly going to draw the image on the canvas. So to do that, we can use this canvas.drawImage method. And here we can pass this image object, and here we also need to specify the location that where we want to draw this image. So we want to draw it at the start or at the top left corner. So we can specify the offset object, so offset dot 0, and then the third parameter is the paint object. So this paint object is used to customize the image, but we want to draw the original image, so we can simply pass this paint object here. And that's it. So now when this line will be executed, this image will be drawn on the canvas of this pose painter, and we are going to display this pose painter inside our GUI. So we can simply pass it here. So basically we are displaying this pose painter inside custom paint. So as soon as inside this pose painter we are going to draw the image on the canvas, the image will be visible here on screen. But now inside this pose painter we need to pass our image and the list of poses returned by the model. So to do that, we need to firstly convert our image into a specific format, and then we are going to pass it here. And the reason is this draw image is actually taking the image in a particular format called image. So we need to convert our image into that specific format, and then we are going to pass it here. So if at this point you are little confused, then don't worry, things will be clear in just few minutes. So in simple words, right now we need such widget where we can draw image, and then on the image we can draw points or lines, and such widget is this custom paint. So inside it we need to pass a custom painter object, and that custom painter allows us to draw anything on the canvas. So in our case we are going to draw the image and then also the points and lines on the canvas. So now our next step is converting our image into that image format, and for that purpose we can firstly declare an image object here. So var image, and then we need to store our selected or captured image inside this image variable, and we are going to do that inside a new method. So below our do pose detection we are going to create a new method, and we can name it as draw pose. And then we are going to call this method inside this do pose detection. So here, after getting the list of poses, we are going to call this draw pose method. And now inside this method we are going to convert our image into that image format, and for that purpose firstly we are going to access our image in the form of file, and we are going to read it as bytes. So this method will gonna return the bytes of our image, and we can assign it to a bytes variable here. And as this read as bytes will gonna take some time, so we need to add an await keyword. And once we will do that, we need to make our method async. And now we need to add a not null insertion. So here when this line will be executed, we will get the bytes for our image, and now the next step is converting our image into that particular format. And to do that we are going to use a method called decode image from list. So this method will gonna take the bytes of our image, and it will gonna return the image into that image format. So here we are also going to add an await keyword. And then we are going to assign the result to our image variable. And that's it. So when these two lines will be executed, our image will be converted from file format into that image format. And after that we can call set state, and there we can pass our image. So now by doing that, wherever we are using this image object, the changes will apply, and we are passing or using this image object here. So now inside this pose painter we are passing our image in that particular format. And the second thing here is the list of poses. So what we need to do is to declare this list of poses outside of this do pose detection. So you can simply copy it and then declare it above our init state. So here we can declare a list of poses, and for now this list will be empty. After that, inside our do pose detection, we are going to remove this part so that our results will be stored inside that list of poses. And then we are also passing this list of poses inside our pose painter. And now after passing both parameters here, we need to change this condition, and we are going to check that if this image variable is not null, only in that case we are going to display this custom paint. Otherwise we are going to display our default image. Similarly, inside our pose painter, we are also going to return true inside this should repaint. Otherwise it will gonna give us that exception. So set it to true. And that's it. So now after doing all of these changes, let's simply click on this main dot and select the image again. So now our application is refreshed, so let's select an image. So we are going to select the first one. And there you can see the image is visible, but it is not completely visible and it is looking quite strange. And there is a reason for it. And that reason is we are using custom paint widget to display our image. And when we use custom paint, we also need to enclose it inside a widget called size box. And that size box widget is used to set the size of this custom paint. And after that, we also need to use a widget called fitted box, which is used to avoid overflow. So to display our image correctly, here we can wrap this custom paint widget inside a sized box widget. So you can see this widget here. And after that, we need to enclose this sized box inside a fitted box. So select wrap with widget and add this fitted box widget. And now after doing that, let's format our code. And then we are going to set the size for the sized box. So here we can set the width and the height properties. So we are going to set the width of this custom paint or size box equal to the width of image. And we can get that width using our image object. So image.width will gonna return the width of the image, and then we need to set the height. So in our case, we are going to set the height also equal to the width. So image dot width. So by doing that, our image will be displayed only on the top section of screen. So now after making the changes, simply hard reload the application. And there you can see we got this error, and the error is we need to convert these values to double. So we can call this toDouble method here and also here. And now let's hard reload again. And now you can see our image is visible again, and this time the complete image is visible. Similarly, let's select the other image. And now you can see the other image is visible as well. But now inside our application, we are displaying the image using this custom paint. And now inside our pose painter, we can draw anything on that image. So here below this canvas, you can use this canvas.draw and you will find number of methods. So it means that you can draw an image on this image, a rectangle, arc, circle, color, line, oval, paint, and so on. So in our case, we are going to firstly draw the points at the location of body joints, and then we are going to draw the lines. So now let's draw the points at the location of body joints using the result returned by our model. And to do that, inside this paint method, we are going to use this list of poses. So we need to iterate this list, and then for each landmark, we are going to draw a circle or a point on this image. So to iterate this list of poses, we can get the code from here. So there you can see we got a for loop which is iterating this list of poses. So simply copy this for loop and then we can paste it in the bottom. So here below this raw image, simply paste it, and then let's make some changes. So you can notice that we are iterating each pose present inside this list, and then for each pose we are iterating landmarks. And now for each landmark we are going to draw a point on the image, and to do that we can remove existing code from here. And we can also remove this bottom line. And now here we can use our canvas class. So canvas, and then we can use its draw circle method. So basically we are going to draw a small circle, at the point of body joints. And here in this draw circle, we need to firstly specify the location where we want to draw that circle. So as we want to draw the circle at the location of body joint, so we are going to get it using this landmark. So here we are going to pass an offset object, and inside this offset object we are going to use this landmark dot x, which will gonna return the x point for that landmark, and then we are going to use this landmark dot y, which will gonna return the y point for this landmark. And now after passing the location of this circle, the next thing is passing the radius for the circle. So for now we can pass 1 here, and then the third parameter is the paint object. So as I mentioned earlier, this paint object is used to set the properties of the object which we are drawing. So in our case, we can set the size and the color of circle using this paint object. So to do that, we can create this paint object above. So paint, and we can name it paint, and after that we can call its constructor. And now we can set the color of the circle using this paint dot color, and then here you can specify any color that you like. So using colors dot red, we are going to specify red color for now. After that we can also set the style for the circle, and to do that we can use this paint dot style. And here we can set its value using this painting style dot, and you will find these three options here. So here if we will select fill, then it means that we want a circle which is filled with red color. And if we will set it to stroke, then it means that we want a circle which will gonna have a stroke or a border, and that border will be of red color. So we can select stroke here, and then we can also set the size of the stroke. So paint dot stroke width, and for now we can set it to 3. So now after creating this paint object, we can simply pass it here and add a semicolon. And now after doing this thing, if we are going to run our application again and select the same image, you will gonna notice that red circles will be drawn at the location of body joints. So now our application is refreshed, so let's select the image. And there you can see the image is visible, and on this image we got these red circles. So if they are not clearly visible, then I can increase the size, and you can notice that the points are drawn at the location of different body joints. And these points are not accurate at this point, and we are going to resolve them later. But for now you can notice that the points are being drawn on the image itself. And this is because of this draw circle method. So we are iterating each pose present in the image, and then for each landmark we are drawing a circle. So you can also change the properties of the circle here to check the results. So now after drawing circles on the image, it's time to improve the performance of our model, and then we are also going to draw the lines joining these circles. So right now you can notice that these circles are not that much accurate, and the reason is for now we are using the fast model of MLKit pose detection. So here inside our init state, when we are initializing this pose detector, we are passing this default pose detector option. And inside this option, the default model is the base model, and the default mode is the stream mode. But now we are going to change these properties here. So firstly we are going to change the model, so pose detection model, and you can see the options to accurate or base. So we are going to select accurate model for now, and then we are going to select the mode, so pose detection mode. And you can notice that this single and stream mode. So you can use this stream mode when you are passing videos or live camera footage. But in case of single images, you can use this single mode. And now by doing that, our model will gonna return much more accurate results. So to test the changes, I will gonna install the application again. And then I will gonna select the image. So let's select the same image. So now you can see the image is visible again, and you can notice that the points are drawn again, and this time points are relatively more accurate as compared to previous one. Similarly, we are going to test it for some straight images. So let's select a different image. So there you can see the image is visible and the circles are also drawn, and this time circles are drawn quite accurately. Similarly, you can test this application for different images, and here you can notice that when we are selecting an image, the image is not visible instantly, and the reason is when user is selecting the image, we are calling this do pose detection, and here after passing our image to pose detection model, then we are calling this draw pose method, and in this method we are converting our image and then updating the GUI. So instead of doing that later, we can cut this draw pose from here and we can do it at the start of this do pose detection. So we can remove this set state and add this draw pose, and after that once our model will gonna return the result, then we can call set state block again, and there we can pass this list of poses. So as we are using this list of poses here, so our GUI will also be updated once we will get the result. So now after making this change, let's test our application again. So you can see our application is refreshed. So let's select an image. So we are going to select this image. So you can see the image is visible and then these small dots are also visible, but this time image was visible instantly, and you can notice the size of these dots is small, but these dots are positioned quite accurately. And now inside our next lecture we are going to draw the lines joining these points. So now after drawing the points on the image, it's time to draw the lines joining those points. And to do that, we are going to create a method inside this for loop. So yes, you heard it right. We are going to create a method here, and then by using that method, we are going to draw the lines joining different body parts. So in our case, we are going to draw a line joining this right wrist with right elbow, and then from this right elbow to right shoulder. After that we are going to draw a line from right shoulder to right hip, and then from this right hip to right knee, and then from this right knee to right ankle. After that we are going to do the same for the left side as well, and to do this thing comfortably we are going to create a method here. So this method will gonna return void, and we can name it like draw custom line. And this method will gonna take three things as a parameter. So firstly it will gonna take the first landmark type and the second landmark type between which we want to draw the line, and the third thing will be the paint object using which we are going to specify the color and the properties of the line. So here we can specify landmark type and we can name it as point 1. After that pose landmark type, and we can name it as point 2, and then the third thing will be a paint object, and that's it. So after creating this method, let's create this body, and now here we are going to write the code. So basically we are going to call this method here, and then we are going to pass the points between which we want to draw the lines, and inside this method we are going to use this canvas.drawLine method. And inside this method we need to specify the first and second point between which we want to draw the line, but we need to specify it as offset object. So firstly, based upon these points we are going to get the landmarks and then create these points. So to do that we can firstly get our first pose landmark, so pose landmark, and we can name it as pose landmark 1, and we are going to get it using our pose object, so pose.landmark, and here we are going to specify the type to point 1. After that add another null insertion, and that's it. So basically we are getting the first landmark here, and then we need to get the second landmark. So we can simply paste it and change it to landmark 2 and this point 2. So after getting both landmarks we can create offset objects, so offset, and here we are going to specify the x point for first landmark dot x, and then we are going to get the y point. After that we are going to create this offset object for the second point as well, so simply paste it here and change it to landmark 2 and 2. And after doing that, the third thing here is this paint object. So we are going to specify this paint object by creating a paint object here. So above this for loop, we can simply copy this paint object code and then paste it here. And then we can rename it like left paint. And after that, we can specify the color of the lines which we are going to draw on the left side. So let's say we are going to draw yellow lines on the left side. So here we are going to change this paint with left paint. And that's it. Similarly, we are going to create a paint object for the right side as well. So here simply paste the lines and change this left with right. And then you can select the color of right lines. So here we can select a color like this purple for the right side. And that's it. So here we created two separate paint objects for the left and right side so that the colors of lines will be different on both sides. And now here we are going to pass this line paint object which we are getting as a parameter. So now after doing that, we need to call this method and we are going to call it below. So firstly, we want to draw a line for the right side, so we can call this draw custom line method, and here we can specify the pose landmark type. So pose landmark type dot right wrist, and then the second point will be right elbow. And after that, we are going to specify our right paint object here. And that's it. So now this line will gonna draw a line joining this right wrist with right elbow, and we are going to copy this line and paste it here. And now we are going to draw a line from right elbow, so we can change the first point to right elbow, and then the second point will be right shoulder. Similarly, we need to draw a line from right shoulder to right hip and so on. But before doing that, let's test our current changes. So I will gonna install the application and then I will gonna select the same image. So there you can see the image is visible, and if I will zoom in a little, you can see a line is drawn, and this line is drawn from the wrist till the elbow. So in case of this image, the right point was actually this one, so that's why a line is drawn here. Similarly, we can try to draw the line for the left side and also for the remaining points. And to do that, we can simply copy these methods. And then I can paste it here, and this time we are going to use left wrist, left elbow. So after adding the points for the left side, I will also gonna add the left paint here and press Ctrl S. And you can notice that the line is drawn on the left side as well, and this line is of yellow color and it is more visible here. Similarly, let's select another image. So I will gonna select this image, and you can see that the line is drawn on both the left and on the right side. Similarly, after drawing the lines for the arms, we need to draw a line joining the shoulder with the hip, and then also draw the legs. So you should try to do it by yourself, and if you cannot, then follow me in this lecture. So after drawing the arms, we are going to draw the body. So draw body, and to do that we are going to copy these methods. And now we are going to draw a line from right shoulder till right hip, and then we are going to do it for left shoulder and left hip. And here we are going to change the color to left paint and press Ctrl S. And you can see the line is also drawn joining shoulder and hips. And now we need to draw the lines for the legs. So here we are going to copy the code again, and now change it to like draw legs. And we are going to change this right shoulder to right hip. And then the next point would be right knee. Similarly, we are going to draw a line from right knee to right ankle. and then change the paint. And after that, to draw the left leg, we can copy this line and paste it here, and then change this right with left. And now if I press Ctrl S, you can see the legs are drawn as well. So here we need to change the paint to left paint. And now press Ctrl S. And now you can see the color is corrected as well. Similarly, if you want to join this left hip with right hip and left and right shoulder, you can also do that. So here we are going to add 2 more lines for the body. And then we are going to add our right hip. And we are going to join it with the left hip. After that, the left shoulder with the right shoulder. And now press Ctrl S. And there you can see full body is drawn on the image. Similarly, we can use the earlier image. And there you can see the lines are drawn joining each of body points. Similarly, let's try it for this one. And also for our first images. So now inside our application, we are able to draw the lines joining different body joints. So now after drawing the lines and the points at the location of body joints, we are going to make an exciting enhancement inside our application. And that enhancement is detecting the pose or yoga pose of a person. So for now, I will give you a demo of this feature. So in this feature, user can select or capture an image in the same way. So let's select this image. So there you can see the image is visible and we are drawing the lines joining body parts. But now here we also got a message, perfect, your downward dog pose looks amazing. So basically in this image user is doing yoga and this particular pose of yoga is called downward dog. So after detecting the body points, our application also detected that user is doing downward dog pose and his pose is correct. Similarly, if we are going to select some other image like this image, so in this case you can see our message is great effort, try straightening your arms a little more. So basically our application is suggesting that user pose is not correct, he need to adjust his arms. Similarly, if we are going to select the other image like this image, you can see we got the result perfect, your pose looks amazing. So it means that we are able to detect the pose of person and we are able to suggest improvements in doing that pose. So to do that we need to make some changes inside our application and we are going to do that inside our next lecture. So see you in the next lecture. So now let's build an exciting application where user can detect and count exercises using pose detection. So we are going to build this exciting application and this is the first screen of our application. So in this application, user can detect and count push-ups, squats, plank to downward dog and jumping jack. So in order to detect a particular exercise, user will click on a tile, like I will click on push-ups, and then this screen will be opened. And here if we are going to point a camera to a person who is doing push-ups, then you can notice that the count is increasing. So it means that our application is detecting a person doing push-ups. Similarly, if I will move it to squat, then you can notice that the timer is not increasing or the count is not increasing because right now person is doing squats. So to detect them, we can go back and open the squat tab. And now you can see our application is counting these squats. Similarly, we got other exercises like this plank to downward dog. So you can see our application is counting them correctly. And now finally for jumping jack. So inside this section, we are going to build this exciting application. Hello guys, Hamza here. I just want to let you know that this video is just the first part of my complete Flutter and Pose Detection Build AI-based fitness and yoga training applications course. The complete course is around 4 hours long and it includes all source code that we write in this course. Every section has before and after source code, so you can easily code along with me. Apart from that, you will get a certificate upon completion which you can add to your resume. and the course comes with a 30 days money back guarantee. So if you are not satisfied, just simply ask for a refund. So if you are interested, I will put a link down below, and we are offering a discount to first 50 students. And now let's continue to the next lecture.